What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and today we have an extremely special guest. We got another 843 representative in the building. Full disclosure, I'm from Moncks Corner, South Carolina, and the main highway in Moncks Corner is Highway 52. If you take 52 east about an hour and 20 minutes, you're going to pass through St. Stephen, you're going to pass through King Street, you're going to pass through Lake City, the home of the late great Ron McNair. And the next city you hit is going to be the home of my next guest, Florence, South Carolina, currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a husband and a father, former wide receiver of South Carolina State, and host of one of my favorite podcasts on the planet, the 12 Kyle podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 12 Kyle in the building. 12 Kyle, what's good, bro?
What up? What's good, man? Hey, man, glad to be here, man. Again, big fan, man. I'm glad to see you getting your thing started, man. I remember hearing you, other than us, tweeting and stuff on Twitter and everything, just hearing you. I think you did a guest spot on somebody's podcast sometime last year, and you did something on Twitter about, man, I'm thinking about getting my own podcast, and man, I've been listening since day one, man. It's an honor. Glad to be here, man, for real. And we homies, so
Yes,
gotta
sir.
show love.
All we got, man. I greatly appreciate it. So the 12 Kyle
For sure.
podcast.
Oh man, anytime.
Dude, I was at work today listening to the shoe show episode, and then I went back and listened to the 30, I think it was the 30th anniversary of the Mama Said Knock You Out episode. And people, he puts out new episodes every Thursday, and he puts out bonus episodes on Sundays. And it's the fact that you never run out of topics is still mind-boggling to me, bro. Number one, how did you put the podcast together? And number two, how do you remain fresh with these topics after all these years?
Great question. The podcast actually started. I used to have an internet radio show called the 12 Radio Show. And I did that from 2010 to 2015. It was a live show on the internet through Blog Talk Radio, and it was a 2-hour show. I take call-ins and everything. I'm running the boards. I'm playing music and stuff in the background. And that was a lot of fun, man. I did it for 5 years. And toward the end of the run with the 12 Radio Show, one of my boys was like, he's like, yo, man, he said, man, you should look at just making this a podcast instead of doing a live show. I like doing the live show, Danny, but what happened was I realized, not that I even care about numbers, but one day I had to look at the numbers. And I noticed that more people were listening to the playback as opposed to listening to it live. I was broadcasting live every Wednesday from 9 to 11 p.m.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know what, man, this will be dope. I was like, I'll be able to record and, then I'll have my free time, because it's hard to, especially as a family, man, it's hard to block out 2 hours and say, hey, y'all go over here, I'm in here, record, leave me alone or whatever like that. But my family's been more than supportive, my wife and kids. So I transitioned it from the 12 Radio Show to the 12 Kyle podcast in 2015. And it just kind of took off from there, man. And it's been a lot of fun. And I enjoy doing it. Your second question, I always have something to say. So okay. I'll be honest. I sat down, no lie, first week of this year, and I just started writing stuff down. Stuff I wanted to talk about. And I literally have written down more than 100 things to talk about. Now, whether or not I get to all of them this year is, but it's just, stuff that I want to talk about. And the biggest thing I think I want people to take away from the podcast is, one, the podcast, because I don't talk about current events, it's evergreen. Like, you can listen to my first episode, you can listen to my 100th episode. I've done, at the time of this recording, 400 plus episodes. So at some point in time this year, I'll probably hit 500. But I love giving the content, man. And I think my biggest thing is I want to bring people in the room. So it's just like the conversation we're having. I want people that's listening to us feel like they're sitting in the room with us. You and I are from the country. We used to call it sitting under the shade tree.
Yes, sir.
Those kind of conversations where people really feel like they're there. So whether or not I'm talking about hip hop, or if I'm talking about growing up in the 90s with no internet, how life was before the internet. I don't run out of things to talk about, Danny. And I got a bunch of music and stuff coming, music episodes coming this summer. And was the anniversary podcast that I do, and just a lot of storytelling. So I gotta, when you have stuff to say, you should say it. That's my motto.
That's true. I like that, and I'm looking forward to those. So, getting into baseball, what are some of your earliest memories of the sport?
Oh man, great question. My probably my earliest memories was really getting into the game. I wasn't somebody who started watching baseball like at a young age. I was probably, mid elementary school, fourth, fifth grade. We lived in one section of Florence, South Carolina, and then we moved to another section. We moved from like this apartment building to a house. And
Okay.
when we moved into a house, when we lived in the apartments, nobody played baseball. We played football. We didn't even really play basketball like we played football. And because you think about it, you don't have really a lot of money. The easy thing to do is get a football, but you
Right.
get baseball, you need other people. You know what I'm saying? Just go out and be like, yo, anybody want to play? Like that. But you can get a game of basketball or football for that matter, just with a couple of people. But we moved into a house, and I want to say this was like 83. And I was in like the third or fourth grade. I was fourth grade. And so what happened was we all the kids in the neighborhood played baseball. And so I was like, yo, I said, man, I might try this. And then so I asked my dad if I could play. He was like, yeah. And my dad is a huge baseball fan, and he grew up loving, the Brooklyn Dodgers and Jackie Robinson. So, I'll be honest, I've been playing football since I was 8 years old. Football was my first love, right? But baseball was the girlfriend. Football was the wife, but baseball was the girlfriend. So I played organized baseball for 2 years, Danny, and I loved it, man. And I'll be honest, and I'm sure you can relate to this too. As I got older in baseball, the thing that kind of pulled me away from playing baseball was I remember going to our baseball park, which was far from my house, and I looked around the field and I see nobody looked like me, nobody.
Yeah.
And that last year I played, I was the only black kid. No, it was me and one other kid. It was only black kids on the team. And so it's not like how it is nowadays where you and your buddies and stuff. I like none of my friends at that time played baseball. So I got into baseball really just because we moved and the kids that were around were playing baseball. But I actually got away from base as far as playing baseball. I got away because I didn't see any black faces like mine. So, but even getting away from playing baseball, it never stopped my love from watching baseball. I love to watch baseball.
Word. So you've loving baseball. How did that love transition into being a fan of the New York Yankees, especially being in Florence, South Carolina?
Yeah. That's funny because we didn't there was no if you're talking about the mid 80s, there was no MLB League Pass. There wasn't a whole bunch of channels where you could
Right.
watch baseball. We had cable TV. But the thing was that, the Braves in Atlanta's 4 hours from Florence. So any with the Atlanta Braves. So most of the people in my area, I'm pretty sure most of the people in my area were Braves fans. And at the time that I was coming up, there was a minor league team called the Florence Blue Jays. So we had a Toronto. Well, this is before they were Toronto Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays they had a minor league team there. So so we had some Blue Jays fans, but mostly everybody around my way was Braves fans. And then one of my best friends was a Mets fan. And the reason why he became a Mets fan was because the Mets were being seen on WOR, which was a cable station out of New York.
Oh
And
yeah.
so he got a chance to see them. Yeah, you remember? So
Mm-hmm.
he got a chance to see them. And this is 85, 86. So, they won the title in 86. So I remember going to the crib and he was like, rooting up and down and I mean, at that time, everybody loved Doc Gooden, Strawberry. They had all of those guys on that team, and I didn't want to just jump on a team like his team because I didn't have a team at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to just jump on his team. I was like, let me get my own team, and the Yankees weren't that good, so I was like, you know what, I'll rock with the. And I didn't, to be honest, I didn't really see him that much on TV, but every day, at that age, you're reading the newspaper. So first thing I do, get the newspaper, Florence Morning News, open it up, go to the sports section. go check the scores, and I check the box scores. I used to love checking the box scores. I really enjoyed the conversations you had on your last episode with the young lady, Nick June, I think you said his name
Nick
was.
Jew.
What was her name?
Yeah.
Nick June. Shout out to her when she talked about filling out, the lineups and everything like that. People don't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And people rarely look at the box scores, but I would always go to the box scores, and I just started following the Yankees after that, man. It just became a huge, huge Yankee fan, somewhere probably like 84, 85.
Dope. And just keeping it on the Yankees, what were some of your favorite, some of your best and worst moments? And you being a Yankees fan, is an abundance of best moments. I mean, 27 rings, that good Lord, man. I can't even have to relate.
Yeah, man. I always say this to my hater friends who hate the Yankees. We're the Yankees and you're not.
Case closed.
That's my motto. Yeah, it's so I don't want to sound braggadocious, but I'm about to sound braggadocious. I mean, let me just start with the worst moments. The worst moments obviously was losing to those suckers from Boston. I don't call them the Red Sox, I call them the Red Sucks. You don't ever want to blow a 3-1 lead, Danny, but the last team you want to blow a 3-1 lead to is those clowns from Boston.
Yeah.
The Altuve walk-off home run was a terrible moment. I still don't like that dude, man. I still think they was cheating. Houston, the Houston Astros were cheating. And you know what's funny, Danny? I'll share this with you and your listeners, man. I travel sometimes for work, and I left Atlanta this past whenever the season ended last year. That was what, October, whatever. And I had to come to Houston, and I was in Houston for a week, and I just so happened to be in Houston the week that they had the Astros had the parade. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
And man, I was pissed. I was like, man, because like the thing, and I don't know if you've ever been to Houston, like it is truly, especially since they've been successful these last few years, it's truly an Astros town. Like you go in the store, you don't see any Texans gear, you definitely don't see any Rockets gear. But I mean, like it's Astros stuff, and you can't get away from that bright ass. Now, I will say the Nolan throwback is that's one of the coldest, throwback joints you could ever put on.
100%.
But it's just annoying seeing those fans. And so I had to literally be downtown at a conference. And while the parade, one of my coworkers was like, hey, do you want to go outside and step and see the parade? I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know who I root for? Like, I hate all of these people. Like this. So that was a bad moment. And then probably the other worst moment was probably 2014 when A-Rod got busted for PEDs. It is what it is. People hate A-Rod. I love A-Rod. I mean, I don't come down on the PED scandal dudes or whatever like that because baseball knew. Everybody knew, and it is what it is. I think you should put him in the Hall of Fame, put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, the whole nine. Some of my best moments, I mean, come on, Dan, we'd be here all night. Obviously the championships in, what was it, 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2009. I mean, the list goes on and on. Aaron Boone's walk-off home run to send us to in the ALCS to send us to the World Series. Jeter's 3,000 hit. Jeter's last hit was cold too. But that's just Jeter. Obviously, Aaron Judge set in the home run record last year. The flip, the dive. I mean, like I said, we'd be all night. I've got nothing but great memories. I'll be honest, as a Yankees fan, I'm spoiled. I really feel like we should win it every year. So, these last couple of years, Dan, ain't been rough on your boy, man. So, we haven't gotten there. And I thought we had a pretty good shot last year, but our bats can't go cold in the postseason. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But I'm hopeful.
That's true. So, who are some of your favorite and least favorite players for the Yankees, past and present?
I never really had any like least favorite players. I do remember even when I was young, and I'm going way back. Remember This Week in Baseball, the TV show?
Yep.
I remember they used to do features on Billy Martin, the old manager for the Yankees, rest in peace. And Billy Martin was a wild boy. I mean, he was fired and hired by George Steinbrenner, I think like 4 or 5 times. But even he was somebody I liked. I can't really say I have any Yankees that I dislike. Obviously my favorites, Jeter, the core four, Jeter, Mariano. I mean, all of the core four, CC Sabathia, love CC Sabathia.
Me too.
A-Rod I mentioned, Judge, love Doc Gooden as a Yankee, David Cone, David Wells, David Justice.
I forgot he played for the Yankees.
Cone threw a perfect game.
Yeah.
Remember Coney threw a perfect game. David Wells threw a perfect game too, hung over. Dave Winfield, Prime, Deion Sanders. Come on now. I had a lot of Yankees favorites, man. I mean, it's the list goes on and on. Boone, gotta say Boone too.
Oh, 100%. Who were some of your favorite non-Yankees players?
Okay. Man, I mean, obviously, I think I've heard everybody say this on your podcast, Griffey Jr. That dude, man, that swing was just so I mean, like, it's funny. I told somebody, Ken Griffey Jr. could strike out and it would be pretty.
Yeah, that's an excellent way of swinging.
It would be pretty. Obviously, Barry Lamar Bonds, love Barry Bonds. I still contend to this day, prior to the alleged PED use, Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. And I think even after the PED use, he was the greatest baseball player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He need to take said PEDs, but I don't hold it against him. Who else, man? Bo Jackson. What other? I used to like Strawberry, like I said, Gooden. You can bring it forward to guys like Tim Anderson now. Love Kirby Puckett, man. Rest in peace. Love Kirby Puckett. Yeah, man. Kirby Puckett was a bad man.
He was.
I'm gonna go even a little bit further back. A great hitter, Rod Carew. Man, listen, you couldn't strike him out. Tony Gwynn, rest in peace. Love Tony Gwynn. That was another guy you couldn't strike out. I'm trying. I know there's probably a few that I'm forgetting, but most of the dope black play. Before I forget, Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman did stuff that St. Louis that nobody. He stole bases.
Yeah.
Nobody steals bases anymore. Nobody steals. I mean, like Vince would get on first. Second was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And of course Ricky Henderson. Yes, always fun to watch too. Guy you guys mentioned on the last episode, Dave Stewart. Like I said, a lot with just like most black fans, we kind of gravitate towards black players. At least the ones coming up in our era. So yeah, I would say most of those guys you always checking for.
Word. And those are a lot. And you mentioned a lot of names that I forgot when you said Vince Coleman. Man, you took me back with that one. Because seemed like it was always the top 3 dudes stealing bases. It was him, it was Ricky, and it was Tim Raines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rock Raines. Raines is cold. Rock Raines. Andre Dawson with the Cubs. Yeah, it was. It's funny because if you pick each team, you could probably find 1 or 2 players that was just like that. And I mean, like the brothers back then, if you made it, you had to play. You had to be able to be dope. So yeah, we gravitated towards those.
And bringing up the Hawk Andre Dawson, I didn't know until like a couple of days ago he played baseball at FAMU.
Word, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's from Miami.
That's news for me. Wow, I didn't know that.
I learned something today.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So rounding third and heading home on this episode, we're going to take it to the 5 question segment, the 5 most pressing questions of all time. first and last question are the same question I ask every guest on here, and questions 2 through 4 are going to be 100% random. So, now question number 1: what were the ideal items on 12 Kyle's school lunch tray?
Oh man, school lunch tray, man, it got to be that rectangular pizza. That's a
Yes, sir.
staple.
Mhm.
If you went to school in the 80s and the 90s, that was a staple. That pizza, French fries, and I was a big fan of the of corn. I don't know why, but I love the corn at school. They gave it to us like every week. So, and it's funny, Danny, because I remember you asking someone that, and I started thinking, I was like, did we ever get chicken? I don't think we ever got chicken in my school at any of my elementary or middle school or junior or high school. I don't ever remember getting chicken, but yeah, definitely pizza, French fries, corn, and you got to top it off with the chocolate milk, man.
100%. Question number 2: what was your favorite class at South Carolina State?
Great question. My favorite class was international marketing. I have a marketing degree. Shout out to the School of Business, Belcher Hall, where I spent all my time outside the football field. But yeah, international marketing was it was one of those classes, man, where my professor, um, she was dope. She pushed us, and me and my boy Mo, we were in class together, and it was one of those classes like we were challenged every single day, and I really enjoyed going to class. Now I had a few classes in the School of Business that I didn't like, that I hated going to,
Mhm.
but international marketing probably my favorite.
Word. Question number 3: what are your 3 favorite 30 for 30s?
Whoo, wow, what a pull. Um, one in no particular order. One is this one I'm about to say. I really shouldn't be saying it because I hated them as a state fan growing up. But the Miami 30 for 30 on the University of Miami, that was dope. Um, what was the other 30 for 30 that I loved? The 30 for 30 on what was it? A 30 for 30 on Limb Bias? I'm
Yes.
mixing
Yes.
my programs. It was
There
okay.
was. Mhm.
The one on Limb Bias. Um, and I want to say the Fab Five 30 for 30.
Man,
Those are probably my three favorite 30 for 30s.
those are some strong ass choices right there. I
Yeah,
think I'm gonna go
man.
back and watch the
Yeah,
the,
big.
the I'm gonna go back and watch the Fab Five one probably later on tonight too.
Yeah, that was cold. That was cold. I mean, like, and those guys, we're all the same age, so I remember hearing and reading Street and Smith's and looking at like the top recruiting class, and I just remember seeing like Chris Webber, and then I think Chris Webber was like 1, and Jawan Howard was like 5, and then I think Jalen was like 10, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I mean, it was a big deal for three of the best high school basketball players to go to the same school. I mean, now, it's not as big a deal, but I mean, to have that kind of talent all go to one school, I mean, nowadays, people will be screaming, oh, how much are they paying them? And people still allege that
Yeah.
the Fab Five got paid, but yeah, that's a big deal, man. And for as highly regarded as they were and highly celebrated, they didn't win a title. So, that's the downside of it. But they were definitely trendsetters, and they look like us, they walk like us, they talk like us. So, they definitely influenced us.
Yeah. Big facts. Question number 4: if James Brown played football, what would his position be?
You mean James Brown, the singer?
Yeah.
Oh, cornerback. Hands down. The Godfather soul is cornerback. He's not he ain't James Brown don't strike me as, a pretty boy keeping his jersey clean. Like I played receiver, so that's us. We're pretty boys. We're trying to catch the ball and get out of bounds and get down. We ain't trying to get hit. James Brown definitely was he was probably a cornerback in his day. Very aggressive. Um, I would think James Brown probably would be like Lester Hayes was back in the
Word. Question number 5: what was the last thing that made you laugh uncontrollably?
Man, listen. This is so funny. We just like everybody else, I got a couple group chats that I'm in, just my boys and fellas that I grew up with, some of the guys I went to school with. But we got this one group chat, and just the other day, this happened. Like 2 days ago, one of our partners, he was leaving Charlotte, and he was actually flying to Houston, and he was, so anytime we travel or something like that, we'll post in the group chat like, hey man, I'm about to head to such and such. I'm going to New York, and everybody says the same thing, man. Praying for you, safe travels, brother. Get there safely. Let us know when you touch down, whatever. So it's always countries. And so our boy Twan, I won't say his last name. We'll just call him by his first name. My boy Twan. Twan gets in group, and we all got smartphones, right? So I'm assuming this was a typo, but he typed in our group chat, Danny, about to catch this flight. And again, he was leaving from Charlotte, going to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
He typed in, about to catch this flight, heaven. And when I saw it, I lost it. And so like he sent it, and then I guess he was going through TSA, and he didn't know that it did the autocorrect. And so Danny, when I tell you, we had jokes, we had memes. I was like, man, this gotta be Black History Month. This is the first black man that's gonna take a flight to heaven. And so we was like, man, hey, let us know how it is, man. Tell God we said what's up, man. I mean, man, we had so many. Danny, I kid you not, for like 2 hours, I got no work done. It was just memes and jokes, because we knew that he was in TSA, and he probably sent the message and didn't check his phone again until he landed or whatever. Man, it was at least 100 messages, memes, jokes. I mean, I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, like even now, he posted probably about 20 minutes ago before we started recording. He just said what's up, and somebody said, "Hey, did you go to heaven this week?" So catching a flight to Houston turned into, I'm about to catch this flight to heaven. Man, hilarious.
That damn autocorrect, man.
Every time, man. Smartphones being smart.
Yeah, they're too smart for their own
smartphones
good.
Be smart, man.
Always getting in the way.
So, we always get in the way. So, I mean, sometimes on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it will, it'll correct itself. But, the group chat's not so much. So it's not like, where in the text message you can, because this was on GroupMe. So in text message, if you got iPhones, you can unsend it or whatever like that. But man, we screenshotted that thing, and it is literally been the joke for the last 3 or 4 days, man. It's just been hilarious.
About to catch this flight to heaven. Boy,
that's like funny. A black man flying to heaven during Black History Month, man. And then my man, he posted a picture. He posted this meme of a goat being picked up by some balloons and like going to the skies. Man, when I saw that, I just fell out. I was done. I was done. Again, I got no work done that morning, man. We're a bunch of jerks. So it's like the jokes just keep going. And it's like every time somebody will stop, all right, man, we just chilling and they get quiet. Here comes somebody else with another joke, man. It was hilarious. My group chats are way better than Twitter, way better than Instagram.
Man, that's hilarious. So we rounding third, heading home. We about to slide in the home plate. So if you have anything to plug or promote, the floor is all yours.
Oh man, once again, man, thanks again for having me on, man. This is fun. I don't get a chance to talk a lot of Yankees baseball, and this is fun to have this trip down memory lane. Definitely looking forward to the season. I'm not sure how this count thing's gonna go, but because we got some slow guys at the plate, and we got some slow guys on the mounds. I don't know, but I mean, everybody's gonna adjust, I guess. As far as promote, man, check out the podcast, the 12 Kyle podcast, as you mentioned earlier. The podcast drops every Thursday at midnight. From time to time, we drop bonus episodes on Sundays at midnight. A lot of content. You can catch the podcast on any podcast reader, all streaming platforms. You can check out the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is called the 12 Kyle Podcast. Just the thing I try to tell people is I want to give you stuff where you listen to one episode. If you listen to one episode, you listen to another one. And that's all I want. I think once you start listening to the episodes, you're gonna keep listening. And again, they're not dated, so you can go listen to an episode from 3 years ago. It's not just as fresh as the one that dropped last week. So
100%. And I'm guilty as charged. Good job well done. So yeah, this
appreciate
has
it,
been
man. Appreciate it.
yeah, I appreciate you, bro. And I'm gonna have you back on. So
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Same here.
so make sure you like, download, and subscribe to the 12 Cop Podcast. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.